week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm your host. This evening's topic is a general overview of Literacy Volunteers Valley Shore and exactly what Literacy Volunteers Valley Shore does and exactly who they are and what the organization is. With me to discuss this evening's topic is Executive Director of Literacy Volunteers Valley Shore, John Ferrara. John, welcome.
Peter, thank you.
How are you?
I appreciate it. Great. I'm
good to see you again.
It's good to see. Good to be back.
It is good to be back. We've done this, a couple months, not long ago.
Yeah, 2 months ago.
I know.
That's right.
So before we get into the questions of literacy and everything, who is John Ferrara and what does he do for the organization?
Well, it's my job really to provide the resources to keep the organization going.
Okay.
And our organization has been in business since 1979. Mm-hmm. We exist to train tutors and to help students to learn to read, write, and speak English better than they do. So that's our goal.
All right. How long? And you're executive director, I assume?
I am.
Is
as you said.
What my research tells me?
Yes, that's correct.
How long have you been executive director?
It's 3 years now.
Okay.
And it's kind of funny because I started out as a volunteer, mm-hmm. Working at our book sale, and kind of progressed from there. I sort of lost contact with the organization for a while and came back about 6 years ago.
Okay.
After our friend Kathy Bozzi asked me to
mm-hmm.
serve on the board of directors.
Sure.
And then when our our experienced executive director, Marilyn Jewett, retired, mm-hmm. I was asked to step in on an interim basis, and that interim became permanent.
Yes. And from what I hear, that by doing research for tonight's interview, we have a new president of the board.
Yes.
Let's talk about him. Who is he?
Newly elected Jack Smith.
Okay.
He's from Westbrook.
All right.
And he's a Dartmouth grad who has a history and experience in the medical devices field. He previously served on the board of directors of Waterbury Hospital and has dug right in, rolled up his sleeves and dug right in. So
exactly.
He's taken the reins and we expect great things.
How many board members do you have?
We have 14 now.
Okay.
And as you well know, being one of them, but they represent, I think, eight different towns.
Right.
And have a variety of experiences and background. So it's a great group.
It is. A lot of fun.
Yeah, they are.
We're a fun group, too.
Yes, indeed.
We know how to have a good laugh every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
Not often, though.
Well, it's a lot of work.
So, what does Literacy Volunteers Valley Shore do? Well,
again, we train tutors mm-hmm. to teach students to improve their English. We teach both basic reading for native speakers and English as a second language.
Okay.
For those who don't speak English as their primary language.
Okay.
Most of them are immigrants, mm-hmm.
and
some have lived here for as many as 10 or 12 years, and want to learn English because that's how to get ahead.
All right. Now, how did Literacy Volunteers Valley Shore start?
Well, that's an interesting story. It goes back to 1979.
Okay.
And many of the Laotian and Vietnamese boat people who were refugees from their country mm-hmm. Came to the United States. They did have sponsors and were settled in this area.
Okay.
But as you can imagine, not having English language skills,
right.
It was very difficult for them to navigate the day-to-day world. Mm-hmm. Going to a supermarket was an adventure for them because they couldn't read the signage, and of course picking out from the display case what they wanted and figuring out what the prices were was a definite challenge, much less going to the doctor or figuring out what their children were trying to do in school.
Mm-hmm.
So Literacy Volunteers was founded by a group of 5 people.
Okay.
They started meeting in a garage in Old Lyme, and we found space in the basement of Westbrook Library in 1980, and we've pretty much been there ever since.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Exactly. And I guess, let's talk programs for a minute. What types of programs do you offer?
Sure. Well, we do individual tutoring,
Okay.
mostly in 4 different areas: basic education skills, health and family skills,
Okay.
what we call consumer skills, citizenship, and community skills. These are areas that are very practical, and at the same time, they help us to develop a student's vocabulary for everything from opening a checking account to conversing with their doctors, reading prescription labels,
Okay.
to getting a driver's license and taking their citizenship tests.
Now, I was wondering, can we maybe talk about some of your successes
Oh yeah,
as far as the
I'd
organization
love
goes?
to. It's
Please.
great. We have a number of students who started with us from very difficult circumstances.
Okay.
We have one student in particular who works with a program that we have, workplace literacy program that we have with a company in Clinton, and she came to this country with her husband from Colombia.
Okay.
She was a teacher in Colombia, an elementary school teacher,
Really?
but coming here and having no English, where her teaching credential from Colombia really didn't do any good. She took a job as a laborer in a company, and we just happened to be setting up the program at the time. She worked with her tutor, and she's been in the program for almost 10 years now, and went from just working on the factory floor to being an assistant in the quality control department.
Wow.
So not only that, but a couple of years back, she got her citizenship and passed it on the first test.
Really?
So yeah,
All right.
pretty big accomplishment.
It is.
But that's an example of an immigrant who's come to this country and kind of struggled at first, and through the help of her tutor was able to succeed. But we have native speakers here, people who are American born, like our friend Mary, who really relied on her husband for everything, had very little chance or opportunity to really do much of anything. And her husband died suddenly.
Wow.
She had no skills, didn't know how to open a checking account, much less balance a checkbook. And through training with her tutor, she's not only gotten life skills together and driver's license and her own bank account, but now she volunteers for 10 hours a week at the local food bank here. So
Really?
it's a great story.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah,
Pretty
no question
impressive.
about it.
And now there's success stories you'd like to share with us?
I could go on for a long time. There's a ton of others. One of the ones that I think is especially important is our student of the year this year that we just recently named, who was living in Brazil, and she wanted to. She saw that the United States was a place where she could have the opportunity to make things better for herself and her family.
Okay.
She came here all alone, kind of adrift, ended up getting married, having a baby, and working with her tutor, eventually started her own house cleaning business.
Really?
And yeah, today she's become a new citizen. She has her own business, and she's going to start into college next year.
Now, I guess my other question is, where do your students come from?
Well,
All different parts of the country?
We have
In the world?
all over the world.
All right.
We're currently tutoring students from 40 different countries,
Wow.
but we've had students from as many as 70 countries around the world. And I don't think there's a region that's not that hasn't been covered, from everywhere from the Far East to the Middle East to Europe, the Pacific Rim, Africa. They come from just about everywhere.
Wow, it's pretty impressive.
Absolutely. Sure.
Now, we're going to talk about this. We'll talk about it now, but I'm sure we'll touch on it second segment. But
Sure.
people want to send you money and donations.
We encourage them to do that as frequently as we can. How do they do it? Is that what you're asking?
Well, that was going to be my question, but yeah, how do they do it?
Well, there's a number of ways to do that. Probably the best way is to go to our website,
Yeah.
which is www.vsliteracy.org,
Okay.
and hit the donate button, and we'd be happy to take contributions, which we thank you for very much. In fact, if we get a contribution of $100 or more, they can get this.
The pin.
Yes, this pin, which is a unique design that we just started making this past spring.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Now, as far as other information, when people go onto vsliteracy.org, what types of other information and useful tools can they find?
Well, we have a tutors page that people can get information on our tutoring programs.
Okay.
If they're interested in becoming a tutor, we have both sessions in the spring and in the fall
Right.
that they can sign up for. There is a 14-hour course. These are 7 2-hour sessions that help prepare them for tutoring, give them some practical experience, and during the course of that session, we actually match them with their student for the first time.
Now, I believe that over the years, you and I have actually sat through those tutoring
We
sessions.
have, that's it, yeah.
As members of the board together.
Well, as a matter of fact, not only that, but all of our staff is required to take the tutor training.
Okay. Well, John Farrar from Literacy Volunteers, would you mind sticking around for another segment?
Sure, love to do it.
We'll be right back after a short break.
Good morning, students, and welcome to Career Day. I hope you're excited to hear about all the great things you can do when you grow up.
Hi everyone, I'm Emily. I'm super excited to introduce my dad because he's my hero. When I was little, my dad was away a lot, but I was okay with that because he was doing this really important work, driving ambulances in Iraq. Now he's at home, which is great for me because I get to see him every day now. And he's still the biggest hero I know because he tells all the ambulances and the fire engines where to go and rescue people when there's an emergency. I'm so proud of him. He's awesome. He's my dad.
If your service-connected disability prevents you from continuing in your civilian career, Voc Rehab offers counseling, training with a living allowance, education, and other services to help prepare you for your next mission.
So this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show, I'm sitting here with John Farrar with Literacy Volunteers Valley Shore. John, welcome back.
Happy to be here.
Good to see you again.
It's good to be back.
It is good to be back. So we started talking during the first segment. Maybe we can pick it up on this, opening up this segment, the website, as far as what types of information people can find on the website.
Sure. Well, we have our events page for those events that we have coming up during the course of the year.
Right.
And that features both fundraisers and the social events that we have.
Okay.
We do things like our holiday social, which
Right.
we've just recently finished.
That's right.
And a number of our share sessions, which the tutors enjoy. They get together and kind of compare notes to talk about their best practices. plus conversation socials, which when the tutors and students get together to practice their conversational English.
Right.
And those are kind of fun events. Plus we have things that we advertise like our Student Awards potluck supper, which we'll have coming up in May.
Right.
And of course our annual meeting, which we usually have
June?
in June, but we usually have a featured speaker. And,
Okay.
our program business meeting.
And from what I understand, and I don't know if literacy is doing it again this year, but I think so. Your road race.
Oh yeah,
I was
absolutely.
going to say that.
This year it's again it's in April.
Okay.
Our April Fool's backward mile and
Exactly. Which is always fun.
yeah 5K race, which is a lot of fun, and that's going to be special this year. It will feature for the first time. We're going to dedicate the race to one of our former board presidents, Earl Nord, and
Really?
his name will be on the backward mile from here forward. So,
Wow.
yeah. He was a great friend and one of
He was.
the people who sold. Whenever we had a ticket to sell, he went out there and he sold more than anybody.
I was going to
He
say, and
a
I've
great
actually had a chance to meet Earl
Yep.
many times.
Fantastic guy. He had
Oh.
wonderful stories.
Great guy.
Yeah.
He was a really nice guy.
Absolutely.
He was.
So some of the other things that I just want to emphasize on the
Please.
website. We do have a volunteer application that anyone going onto the website who's interested in volunteering or in becoming a tutor can fill out and send back to us. Or we have student application there for potential students. Believe it or not, even students who struggle with English have facility with web-based applications, so
Really?
they can go there and download the student application in either Spanish or English. And we do have a news page, which whenever things are going on at Literacy Volunteers, or we have somebody who is getting their citizenship or has made another achievement, we like to feature them on our news page as well.
Okay.
So there's quite a bit of information there.
There is.
Yeah.
And one of the questions that we haven't talked about yet, how do you get funding?
Well, from a number of sources.
All right.
And we do have several community foundations that support us. Of course, the biggest one from year to year is the Middlesex United Way.
Never heard of him.
I'm sure you have. The folks there, led by Kevin Wilhelm, have been tremendous supporters for us. They give us our largest amount of support year in and year out. But we have several other community-based organizations.
Okay.
The Community Foundation for Middlesex County, the Essex Community Fund, Guilford Community Fund, and Guilford Foundation, which have supported us pretty robustly, let's say, over the years. Of course, we really couldn't do this without supports from each of the towns that we serve, the 11 towns around the Valley Shore area, and generous sponsors like Norm Needleman from Tower Labs and Herb Clark from the Clark Group.
And I guess, what does the future look like?
It's very bright for us. I think, you know, our resources are volunteers.
Okay.
And we currently have over 200 volunteers, both tutors, office people, people who work our book sale, which is another source of funding, who have been, you know, our stalwarts. They take care of well over 210 students. And they really have given us the impetus to build on the successes that we've had in the past. One of the projects that we're doing this year is a new workplace literacy initiative that I just finished writing 2 grants for,
Okay.
and that we're hopeful we'll be able to fund not just for 2015, but beyond, to address a larger segment of the 14,000 or so students who we haven't been able to reach so far.
Okay.
In the Valley Shore area. So we're looking to get into various workplaces around the Valley Shore towns, and to start working in a employee-specific way with them to develop their English language skills as it relates to, the workplace environment. We're also upgrading our instructional materials.
Okay. Sure.
Particularly with regard to the GED. That program has gone from being, paper-based to being computer-based this
Right.
year. So a lot of things have changed with that. And the citizenship application process, which is still evolving, but has changed dramatically over the last 4 or 5 years. And we need to, upgrade our materials because they're, in some cases, so far outdated that they're irrelevant at this point.
I was going to say, how have the materials changed over the years for?
It's been dramatic, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, as anybody who is watching the news can tell, the way that immigration is being handled and the requirements are constantly evolving, and we just need to keep up.
Okay. You know what we didn't talk about during the first segment that we should probably mention now?
Okay.
Book sale.
Oh yeah. We have a book sale that is located in our offices. We have a supply of both hardcover and paperback books,
All right.
adult and children's books that are gently used.
All right.
They're donated through the good graces of those in our area who have gently loved these books, and we only take in donations of books that are at this point 2004 and later.
Okay.
So they're all newer books. They're all in great condition, and we have just about any variety you could want: nonfiction, fiction, general interest, specific topics, politics, religion, crafts, arts, the whole gamut.
Now, when is the book sale normally held?
We do that every weekday between 9 and 2, and the first and third Saturdays of every month between 10 and noon, 10 a.m. and noon.
And for my viewers and listeners who are just joining us, where are the offices of Literacy Volunteers Valley Shore located?
Well, we're in the basement of the, or I should say the lower level of the Westbrook Public Library.
Yeah, do not say the word
And we have our own space there, which when they were renovating the library, they finished it in for us, gave us all the mechanicals and lighting. It's really a tremendous space.
Now, speaking of space and offices, is it a one-man show in the office when you walk in during the day?
No. As a matter of fact,
I was going to say, we at least got to mention the girls
we couldn't. Well,
and everybody else.
They're women to me.
Yeah.
But they're the backbone of the organization. Joanne Argersinger is our administrative assistant, and she has really done yeoman's work keeping up her database, doing our books, which is vital, and keeping me on task, which is probably the most important thing. And Liz Steffen, who is also a board member, our board secretary, our fundraiser extraordinaire, and our administrative aide.
Exactly.
She has been really doing great work with our tutors and keeping in communication with them, taking their hours in and posting them and doing all that work.
I was gonna say, if Joanne really wants to keep you on your toes, I should show up some morning.
Oh, that's it. Keep us both on our toes.
You and I in the office together unsupervised.
Tough
Yeah,
duty.
Exactly.
No question.
But we try to get stuff done.
Yes, indeed.
Before we say goodnight, which we got about a minute and a half or so, what else would you like to tell our viewers and our listeners about literacy volunteers?
Well, I think that we need their help to continue this work. It is something that we know there's a great need for not just those that we're already working with, but those that we haven't been able to reach, and those who can donate some time, even if it's just a couple of hours a week to oversee the book sale, or those who would want to tutor. We'd love to have them come in, sit down with them, get them into the program for the spring, or just send in a donation. Any amount will help.
Okay. Now, as far as, again, all the information that we can talk about tonight is on the Literacy Volunteers website, or if you're sitting here don't have something to write on, what you can do is you can go to my website, and what I can do is I can put a link on my website, which is PeteMezzettiShow.weebly.com, and what we can do is we can put a link from my site to the literacy site.
Terrific. Sounds great.
I would be more than happy to do that for you.
Where they can go to www.vsliteracy.org.
Yeah, they could do that too.
Either way.
And people can find all the information about the upcoming events and
Absolutely.
what's going on with the organization, and if they want to send a check, or if they want to. Are the board meetings open to the public?
They are.
If the
yes.
public wants to
They're,
come and
the third Tuesday, or yes,
second
Tuesday
Second Tuesday.
of every month. I should know this.
Yes.
At 6 p.m. And the public is welcome.
Lower level Westbrook Library.
Library. Very good.
All right, John Ferrara from Literacy Volunteers. Thanks for coming down, my friend.
Pleasure to do it. Thank
See
you.
you soon. On behalf of John, I'm Peter. Thanks. Good night, and we'll see you next week.